Miami gentlemen, thank you all who are on the line right now. I'm sure the numbers are going to keep increasing. As most of you know, my name is Graeme Allan. I'm one of the regional wealth leaders at IDC WIN, myself and Alex out west. So we're delighted to kick off our first presentation of the year and have one of our more important partners, Empire Life, join us. As you can see from this the screen right now, we're going to touch a little bit on Empire's seg fund product, and the reason for that is just to make sure that everybody is aware that it's there and something that should be getting looked at. Now, as the title of the presentation, or what was advertised, is on the digital capability with Empire, we're going to have another guest speaker, Sherif, and he's going to go through the e-vision illustrator, which I've seen already myself. It's really quite a special tool and something obviously everybody in the line, from my understanding, is going to have access to for portfolios and so on. So I'm going to take a step back now. I'll hand this over to my good friend, Mr. Ian Kerr. I'm looking forward to this presentation, Ian. And Sherif, thanks for joining us as well. It's always nice to have new faces on the line. That brings another dimension to what our partner companies to offer to us. So over to you guys. Thank you.
Graeme, thank you for that warm introduction and welcome. I want to thank all of you folks that are on the line. You do have choice, and it's certainly, we appreciate that you chose Empire Life to hear our message this afternoon. So it's a little after 1 p.m. I'm going to start off the presentation and just give you some highlights, okay, folks, about, what do we have to offer. But as most folks know my style, I like to present some sales ideas and weave that in the short time I have. I certainly want to make sure that we focus on what we're here and what this is all about. And what this is all about is, what are the carriers providing you as valued advisors in a digital capacity to help enhance your business? That could be from a revenue point of view. It could be from a time management point of view as well. And definitely stick around after my little speak here, because Sherif is going to really give you some great options to digitize your business. So without further ado, let me get right into it so I don't take up valuable time from my colleague Sherif. So what about our guarantees, folks? And I know this might be a little bit of a repeat, but again, we want to refresh and make sure that you understand exactly what we have on our shelf. We have a 75-75, 75-100, and 100-100. One of the things that I want to point out is that we have death benefit resets on all three of those contracts up until the client's 80th birthday, and that's a big one. And there's a slide coming up to show that. But what you should understand from a competitive landscape point of view is that currently we are the only 75-75 in the marketplace that actually offers your clients a death benefit reset up until their 80th birthday. Now, this is an opportunity where you can also capture some of those asset leakage from your RIF payments and replenish your book of business with some fresh assets that are held by younger clients. So the 75-75 is obviously our cheapest priced, but it's also endearing more so to the younger folks. And I look at it this way: $100,000 example deposit. Over the period of time up to age 80, we've got resets, and now it hit $134,500. Take 75% of that, folks, and here you go. You've got your $100,000, 100% death benefit guaranteed. And I think that's a great product. I was actually in an office yesterday, and talking about a gentleman, he just got married, and talking about the evolution of his life: marriage, home, mortgage, children, education, etc. So it's nice to know that our 75-75 is enhancing the death benefit along the evolution of a young person's life. I think that's a very important point. The 75-100, let's get to that one. Here's a great value proposition. The older ages market is robust and it's growing. So how do we compete there? Well, if you have a client getting into our 75-100 contract before their 80th birthday, this will allow them and they reserve the right to make additional deposits up until age 90, and all those additional deposits are immediately 100% death benefit guaranteed. So take a look at your book of business right now after this call and ask yourself, do I have 20, 40 clients that might benefit from getting into an Empire 75-100 contract before their 80th birthday so that they can enjoy 100% death benefit going forward for their subsequent deposits up until age 90. Beautiful stuff. The 100-100 contract, it's often not looked at, but hey, let me sort of maybe waken up a giant, so to speak, or poke the bear here. people don't look at it because they say the MER is high, but I always believe that the value remains long after the price is forgotten. If I were to take a 56-year-old client today, age 71 on their RSP, they've got to go to RIF. So our default to maturity is 15 years. I add 15 years to age 56, I magically get to age 71. There will be no surprises to the client. They will have at least their principal available to them. They won't have to absorb a 2008 shock of 35% haircut that we suffered on the TSX. So go back to 2008 and ask yourself, do you want your clients to have a chance to even suffer that? If your clients are very conservative, this 100-100 contract could be a great deal. Number two, we've got a lot of options. We've enhanced our shelf, and I won't get too into detail there this afternoon. We'll talk about it one-on-one. But we have offered traditional value style funds, fixed income, some small cap. And I'm very proud to say that Empire added 2 new global growth funds to the mandate last year. So certainly speak to myself or your local wholesaler, and we'll be very happy to give you more information so you can make an educated decision with respect to choosing our funds. And number 3, well, listen, didn't I say we're going to save you time? I'm not going to take away from Sherif's thunder here. He's going to touch on fast and full for you in a moment. But this is something that at the end of the day is going to save you a lot of time. It's going to have your transfers come in much more quickly. And at the end of the day, what I really like about this is that you've got an audit trail. You've got an electronic audit trail. And what that means is that the old excuses of the day from relinquishing institutions, you didn't put this information in or you didn't put that in. Those days are gone when you're using our fast and full system. And again, Sherif will give you a little bit more detail on that. So number 4, you're out there, you're working hard, and you're trying to consolidate some outside assets, right? You might sit down with clients and go, I wouldn't mind that 400,000 or what have you at the outside institution, outside of IDC WIN. So how do you compete for that? Like when you sit down at the table, you can say simply, hey, is it possible? Would you be interested if I can actually increase your rate of return anywhere from 10 to 50 basis points? And folks, that's another thing too about wordsmithing in our business. It's how you say the offer, not always what the offer is. And when they say you can actually increase my rate of return, how do you do that? You've got a conversation going now, and you're moving that sales conversation down the road to a close. So you can see here that we offer our discounts starting at 0.10% for 250 to just shy of 500,000, 500,000 to just shy of $1 million. We're giving a 25 basis points reduction. And as you can see at $1 million plus, we're giving a 50 basis points reduction. And I think this is really important. It's a nice value proposition as a reason, providing your clients with a reason to actually make the transfer over to Empire. They're going to have an increase in their rate of return. Now, that's obviously with the assumption that they're in a regular pricing environment at their current institution. So you want to be careful about that. But the other thing you should be aware of, too, is that with our high net worth offer, we do the householding. So a good example, right? Take the $250,000. And some of you on the line might say, Ian, I don't have clients like that. I believe you do. Yes, you do. Comb your book and you'll find them. $250,000, husband and wife. The wife has $150,000. She doesn't qualify on her own. Husband has $100,000. He doesn't qualify on his own. But together, both of them will get the high net worth pricing because together their total is $250,000 or more. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. So it's a great value proposition for those of you that are looking to consolidate your clients' outside assets, so you have ultimate control over the go forward with their investments. I did touch on it a little bit, but it's worth reiterating again. The death benefit reset, especially on our 75-75 contract, should be attractive to you. Again, currently, we are the only 75-75 with that death benefit reset automatically, systematically on the anniversary of the policy up until the client's 80th birthday. This is a fantastic value proposition. Okay. And just, again, I was just going to give you a little bit of an overview here. You want to take a look at our marketing material. Sherif, who you're going to hear from shortly, and his team, they work tirelessly to put out these pieces. Like they really do. And they're excellent pieces, and they're designed for you as an advisor to use so you can put those with your client-facing meetings and help you close the business. And that's important. Now, hey, you work hard, right? You're working hard. What about getting rewarded? So what I've said so far, you like our value proposition on the seg fund side. Ian, what else is there? Well, if you decide that Empire is the right place for your client's money, why not get paid for it? Get paid a little extra. So I'm not going to delve into this deeply. We're going to talk about it one-on-one when we get to an actual case. But this is a nice piece to have. Now, this runs all the way from the beginning of January of this year, all the way to December 31st, Tuesday, December 31st of this year. Business settled. We are going to have you'd be subject with respect to this commission bonus to getting a bonus check. And we just sent out those checks, I believe it was the end of last month. So a nice surprise for a lot of advisors out there. And it's just a way for us to reward you for being loyal to Empire. It's really no more difficult than that. So I give you a quick example here, folks. You can see. So let's say Robert here, he generated $4 million in segregated fund deposits, but he had $1.7 million in redemptions. Not unusual. That happens in the business. But this is how the calculation goes for his bonus that he get to 25,000. So deposits 4 million. Okay. So we know that equates to a 0.5% bonus rate. The redemptions of 1.7 million. So we take that away from the total, divide that by 4 million, and we get 57.5, which, by the way, is this factor here. So you see this factor, you can see right in the middle here. Well, I can't really highlight that. Sorry. Yeah, right here, folks. So that's what I'm alluding to right now. I just want to make sure we're following along. And now what we do is we go and take that 125% bonus factor, and that's your equation at the bottom, folks, in bold. 4 million times 0.5 times 125%. This particular advisor received a check for $25,000 just simply because they have loyalty towards our fantastic segregated fund lineup here at Empire. I'll move on just for time's sake, and I'll let you know that the eligible contracts are available for this are our GIF contracts only. That does not include Class Plus 3.0, which is our GMWB product. So I just want to make sure that there's no surprises while you're in the field and bringing us some business. You just want to be aware of how does this apply and to which contracts does it apply to. And as I mentioned to you, this is terrific stuff. January 2025, you're getting your check. So there's a little bit of important information, as we all have to do, a little bit more important information as well. The other thing I wanted to mention is a big bonus before I turn it over to Sherif. We have an RRSP season bonus. So for all business placed from the beginning of this year, first business valuation date, all the way to April 30th, settled business, we are going to provide you with a RRSP season bonus. So folks, bonus on bonus. You've got a bonus of the GIF that runs right to the end of the year. I said December 31st of this year. But in the background right now, why not go out there while you're gathering new assets and take advantage of our RRSP bonus? Now, the RRSP bonus is applicable to all of our contracts. Some of you on the line might hold some of our Elite XL contracts of the past, things of that nature. So all of the contracts for the RRSP bonus period are eligible for you to attract an additional check. That additional bonus check will be paid out sometime in May. So for the wonderful segregated funds we have on the shelf is awesome. And now you take a look at the bonusing, and we're going to really highlight this afternoon and really focus on why we're here today. And in a minute, I'm going to turn it over to Sherif Farid. And he's going to talk to you about, hey, our digital platform is going to save you time and help you make more money and keep your money in motion. Money in motion is going to make money. Money that's not in motion is not going to make more money. Sherif is I can't tell you, folks, you want to talk about a resource? It's fantastic. Again, all those marketing pieces, all that he's going to present to you, he's intimate with this. He helped build all of this stuff he's about to present to you. And Sherif is our Director of Investment Marketing on the retail side at Empire. And again, he's a plethora of great information, and he listens. So when we're meeting, myself, with you all, my colleagues across the country, when we're meeting with you as advisors, we actually do take your feedback, and we actually do provide it to our folks. Some folks say, I'll take it back to the head office, and they don't. Well, we do. And I think you'll see that reflected in the presentation we're about to see. So Sherif, over to you.
Thanks, Ian. And thanks for joining us today, everybody. I'm going to go through a few slides to explain a lot of the digital capabilities we'll have, and then I'm hopefully going to have time at the end to go through a demo of our fantastically new eVision Investment Illustrator, and also show you where some of those new tools I'm going to go through are available on our website. So I organized the information here to sort of walk through a general sort of sales process. So when I look at it, there are three main components we're focusing on. That consideration phase where you're, starting that relationship with either, new prospects or even trying to consider, existing clients, a new idea, a new solution, a new path forward. So it's that initial conversation. So we're moving them into the ultimate plan and fulfillment. So when we go through it, yes, the next step is fulfillment, getting that, executing that plan and putting it into an application and getting that client on board. And finally, once they're on board, that servicing aspect. So we're going to organize the tools, and you'll see some duplication because some of our tools actually work in all three phases. So that's going to really be helpful as you, build out the, arrows in your quiver. We'll give you a bunch here today to sort of consider along these three phases. So first off, people are one of the biggest objections. I don't have money to invest. So helping them understand where the extra cash flow could be, where they might find some pennies to pinch to flow towards planning for their future. We have a great tool that we partnered with Ativa on and built in our branding with a great output to help clients walk them through budgeting, building out that household budget and building out space for the plan in the future. So it's a great first step to use this tool. I've included the link, and we'll share this deck with you, but I'll show you where you can find all these tools afterwards as well. Secondly is our investment growth calculator. So this is how you whet their appetite. You show them what is the potential, the compounding growth, and even a generic sort of rate of return. And you can show them a couple of scenarios, one with a pad and one without, a couple of different time frames. So you can show them the sooner you start investing, the greater your benefit could be. So this is a great tool to start that conversation, especially with people who are super familiar with investing and it's the potential that it offers. And if that person's looking for, specifically an RSP investment, this does something similar to an investment growth calculator, but it is centered specifically around the RSP calculator. Not one of our newest tools, but it's still one of our better tools, and it can help you with that, with those initial conversations. So that's phase one of the consideration. As we moved into phase two, it's the start of that plan, showing them that potential. And a couple of tools I want to point out for your use here is the retirement and savings tool. We launched this a few years ago, and it is, the retirement and savings tool. So it gives you, for those clients who aren't just saving for retirement, but for some other outcome, education or vacation or what have you, this tool lets them frame that saving experience to what meets their needs best. And it includes a lot of tools like a investment profile questionnaire, so it can center and identify that investor and their optimal allocation. So when you look at this, it's a lot to go through, but it's a great tool, and it gives you a great output that you can use and keep as part of the client portfolio going forward. And we don't want to fear monger. That's never our goal. But when we look at a client's current scenario and how much they've accumulated to date, to show them in real terms how the potential of that investment to last them into their retirement or for whatever period of time they need it to last, this can show them in clear terms, where they're at and where they might need to consider greater investment or, advancing that plan a little bit sooner, a little bit later, but it gives you a good framework. And again, this comes with a great PDF output you can include in the client file and, bring up on a regular basis and show them, okay, you're at this level now, let's add it back into the program and see where you're at and show that you're advancing those years. So again, a great tool you can use for that. And of course, our investment illustrator, it helps you build that portfolio. So once you've identified the risk profile, you can come into the tool using our existing GIF product and build out a portfolio that aligns with that investor risk profile, and build it by whatever contract type you want. And we have a lot of services, and I'll show you how this all works later on. But this is a great piece to help the start of a plan and show them the potential of that plan at the same time. Phase two is that fulfillment phase. Now, again, you'll use the investment illustrator in the same vein. It's, setting that investment plan, identifying the investor risk profile, either by selecting it or by going through the built-in questionnaire. So you have a couple of avenues to do this with the client, and then come with an outcome and review those results with them using our GIF product, and ultimately be able to produce an output report you can share with them on a regular basis. If their goal is income, retirement income, you can use our CP3 illustrator. It's still out there, and I'll show you where to find it. It's a really good way of building on a hypothetical retirement income plan. It shows you in clear terms where the product can help and where the guaranteed income can kick in and service that client for the duration of their retirement, and definitely help with the liability side of the retirement income plan. Phase 2 of fulfillment is, this is where, the rubber hits the road. It's getting into fast and full. And I think Ian did a wonderful, introduction to this, but it is a end-to-end digital solution that lets you complete the application, deliver the documentation digitally, and fulfill it right from beginning to end. It's a simple 5-step process that can be done on desktop, tablet, mobile. And with the face-to-face, with the screen share, you can meet the client where they're at. They don't have to come to your office. You can manage their availability quite easily with this tool. When we look at it, again, it's across all of our products, our current GIF, Class Plus 3 and GICs, plus all regular available tax types. And recently, it's not on the slide, but we launched a flow for corporate owned. So anyone who's doing corporate owned, non-registered, segregated fund sales, we have now a digital flow for that to streamline that and avoid the NIGOs. We don't want to have those applications that come in not in good order. This has a lot of checks and balances and error checking to help you avoid those as much as possible. And, I think Ian mentioned it, the automated T23 transfer process built right in. You can either print it and deliver it, or, we can do it digitally. It's, if wet signature is required, that you can always change paths and go. So it's a really end-to-end digital solution. And then we talk about continuing on the path of servicing clients. It's, my advisor dashboard. I don't know if all of you have had access or gotten access to the advisor dashboard on empire.ca, but there's several, amazing tools, from reporting to available, on-demand statements to tax slips, and not to mention a really big helpful, especially at our season, the ability to make additional segregated fund deposits right there through the digital portal. So there's a lot of support on the My Advisor dashboard. And if you haven't registered, I would certainly encourage you to get registered to have access to client information at your fingertips, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And, of course, lastly, servicing. I'm going to bring Investment Illustrator. It really covers the bases. It helps you at that consideration phase, completing fulfillment, and then ultimately that regular review and servicing of those in-force clients. You bring it up every year. You can show them the past report and then update it, going back into the tool and running the same portfolio and outputting the updated report, and show them the difference and how much things have improved, and use that as that regular part of your annual review or regular review with clients. It's really helps you make those changes and help demonstrate the value you put into their investment portfolio as they're evolving, as their needs change, and as markets change and evolve. This tool becomes very helpful and integral to explaining that evolution. Before I do that, I just want to take the time to show all of you where you can find a lot of the other resources that I shared today in that presentation. So this is the consumer side of the website. Under resources, there's a plethora of calculators, more than what I even shared with you. RIF, LIF calculators, some, here's a retirement savings tool, our generic investor profile questionnaire. So under that resources tools bucket, you can find a lot of those calculators I shared with you. So if you're ever looking for them, that's where you can find them. But without further ado, we can go into the Illustrator, and just for everyone's benefit, it is simply on the advisor. It's only available through the advisor site, does not require login at this time. And under the investments tab, you can jump right into it here, or you can find it from the main landing page of the advisor site. There is a video for you to watch at your leisure that helps you kind of identify some of the key areas of it, but you won't need that because we're going to go through it today. when I look at the illustrator, there are three main paths you can go through. If you're ready and you know your client's risk profile, you don't really need that element of it, and maybe the client's not with you at the time, you can simply skip right to the build phase and start building out your portfolio as necessary. But if you have the client with you, or if you already have done a risk profile, you can select from a list of 6 generally acceptable risk profiles. These all meet the current guidelines. And if you need to do that, we have a very simple 5-question risk profile assessment tool built into the illustrator. So you can walk the client through and develop an outcome. And this outcome will actually be included in the output report that is generated. So they can see that, and you can track that with them as you move through your relationship with that client. So quickly, you can see right away. And then from this, one of the most interesting thing is from this profile, either selected or if you go through the questionnaire, you have the ability to flip that card and see all the asset allocation segregated funds we have available that fit that profile. And by clicking any one of them or any combination of them, it pulls it into your illustration automatically. And then you just have to input the percentage or dollar amount you're investing and go from there. So it really gives you a quick start, process to get into the build phase. I'm not going to do that today, but you can see that it's easily clickable. And then by hitting next, you'll see it added to your portfolio. But I want to show you how you build a portfolio from scratch. So we'll just move on. You get a little bit of direction, but essentially the two big areas you need to select is the investment amount you're choosing to start with, and the contract type, essentially, or product type. So I'm going to simply select a $10,000 investment, and the system's already reminding you haven't done something right, which means you have to include your assets, your different funds you're including. You can search by fund name or fund code if you know it, or you can sort by different asset classes. So I want to add a bit of Canadian equity. I'll now instantly see all the Canadian focused product that falls under that asset class. So I'm going to allocate $2,500 to that, and it automatically adds it and updates my allocation. You can also see a quick return summary and the risk profile of that portfolio as you're building. So let's add a bit of US equity just to round out this investment. So we'll add a bit of 20 American value, instantly updates, and then finally let's get some global equity added to this. Let's see here. So let's add international equity so we don't conflict with the Canadian US investment we've already added. So a portfolio wouldn't be complete, of course, without a little bit of fixed income. So let's add a little bit of spice and put a little bit of global fixed income to the portfolio, and we'll just put it in at a 2,500 amount. So automatically you see the fixed income component increased, the return profile changed, and the risk profile of the portfolio has been adjusted by the addition of those additional segregated funds. So once you're satisfied with your construction, you can choose to move on. You can also at this point even change the contract type if you realize, oh no, I want to do this, I want to use a different contract type, what have you, and you can see that the system automatically updates that, and then it updates the return profile as well to match that segregated fund. Let's stick with 75/75 for now and just move on. Take a moment to calculate, but once you have the portfolio built, you'll have what we'll call the review portfolio. You can see up at the top what part of the report you're kind of in at the given time. So instantly,
good stuff, Sherif. Great
stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ian. Thank you. So you can see right away the return profile of the portfolio, how this has looked since the inception. So what it's doing, it's taking the longest common inception period between the funds selected. So if you have a very short dated fund, one only launched in the next 2 or 3 years, then your illustration will only show for 3 years. But those funds I've selected have a good 14-year track record. So we're going back beyond 2020, and you can see the long history of that portfolio, or the combination of these funds in that portfolio. You have a couple of other return views. You can see the long and short-term performance. You can look at the calendar year returns. and you can look at rolling returns. Now, this is a really interesting illustration. You can see if there's longer periods available, you'll see how many negative periods exist over a 3, 5, and 10-year period. We included the 1 year, but there's tends to be a lot more choppiness when we look at a very short 12-month rolling period. But when you look over 3 and 5 years, you definitely start to see an interesting profile emerge when you build these portfolios. Additionally, we have different allocation views. Yeah, the overall asset allocation, equity allocation by traditional industry or sector allocation, fixed income allocation. If there's fixed income selected in the portfolio, you'll see the credit allocation and bond term, or otherwise known as duration. So this gives you a sense of where the risk lies in the portfolio right off the bat. And we do an aggregated top 10 view. So you don't have to do this. In the report, we'll take the underlying holdings of all the funds selected and roll them up and show you what your top 10 looks like and what percentage of the overall portfolio that top 10 does. So this is calculated instantaneously. As you saw, it took a bit of time, but not long at all. The other two views for your benefit are the risk return profile of the portfolio. The portfolio being the center dot, and then the profile of those funds that have been selected. So you can see the combination of these funds definitely has reduced the risk and giving you, a moderately good return considering the portfolio that's being constructed. You can look at it over 3 and 5 years if 5 years was available, but because of the longest common period, you do see a shorter time frame. And you can see the standard deviation and return information for all the funds and the portfolio as a whole. Lastly, the last view to take a look at is the fees, and Ian touched on it. This lets you see at a glance what the sort of aggregate fee would be for the portfolio based on the weighted combination of the underlying securities. So this gives the client in clear view what MER they can expect in the combination of these funds together. And we've broken out management fee and insurance fee, so you can see very clearly, what the cost of the value out of the segregated fund is. It's nominal, right? And this is a great conversation point to bring up to clients. And when you're done, when you're satisfied, we can simply click the generate report. You can customize this report to your clients' names, including your details, and then customize the illustration you want to put into the report. We want to keep the report as concise as possible. So we know there's some versions, some different year periods that we have available. So we've given you the ability to select from those years, right? And with the risk return, there's only one. Once you're ready, it's simply just generating that report and viewing it in the browser that you're in, no matter what it is. Here's that investor profile, and all the different illustrations are available in the report. All right. And from within your browser, you can choose to print it or save it as a PDF and include it in that client file to review at your next meeting, at your next review meeting, statement review meeting, what have you. This is now a locked in document. Right. And just to give you a quick heads up on some of the enhancements we're looking to do this year, one of the big ones is we're going to put this in behind login. What that's going to do for you is the ability to save these portfolios as models and save them as client illustrations. So keeping the client file for yourself. So look for that as you use the tool. Look for those enhancements that come out within the year for sure. And with that, I can hand it back to Ian and take any questions that anyone might have. The management fee is the absolute calculated, expenses to manage the fund, and the insurance fee is the set fee we identify for each product class. Mm-hmm. Why you're seeing a difference is, yes, the GST and any other operating expenses that aren't bound inside the management fee are applied here, but it's generally mostly taxes and that overall operating fee that we have to apply in many cases. So that's the biggest discrepancy. And like in this example, great call out, you're looking at about a 25 basis point difference, right?
Well, thank you so much for that. And, I think one of the other things too, as well, as I'd like to point out just as a takeaway, hopefully everyone on the line can see that this illustration tool can also help you manage your client's emotions. So when Sherif was going through that 3 year, showing choppy 1 year, 3 years now smooth, 5 years smoother, that is very instructive to your clients, folks. You can share that with them to say, why would you not want to stay invested? right? Because people, as you know, they're going to talk to you about 1-year increments. That's how clients are. We have to discipline them to think longer term. And I think that this graphic toggling in and out and showing the different time periods, I think is very instructive to just keep saying, hey, you need to stay invested, and here's why. So I just wanted to just share that with you. On that note there, the one thing is that I do like the fact too that and this has been something that has been absent in a lot of the illustration tools out there, is that we finally are at a place where the cost, the performance, all of that is reflective of the contract level that your clients want. And that's really important. We've gone from a day where, well, we're showing you the 75-100. Yeah, but I'm buying the 100-100, or I'm buying the 75-75. So I love the fact that inside this particular tool, you can give the proper numbers and accurate numbers based at the contract level. I think that's important because, you know, well, you can sell it on a 75-75 numbers, but if your client buys a 100-100 contract and they see the, you know, the total rates of returns are lower, you don't want to have that conversation. So I love the fact that, again, this is dynamic where it reflects the actual contract that is chosen by the client. So here we go. So let's get into that. Christian Aubert, thank you very much for your question. Can we go from the illustration to the application? That's a great question, Sherif. I think you've got something good to talk about that.
Yeah, thanks, Christian. Great question. And I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag, but you know, you asked me the question, so I'm going to. We are definitely going to be looking to do that within the next 14 months. We want to incorporate this as part of the application process, so you can go through this. And then one thing I didn't illustrate is once you do generate that report, you have the ability to, at the end of it, and I'm just going to fast forward to the bottom, you have this sort of client acknowledgement page that we included. So you can have them sign off saying, I approve or I agree with this plan that's been put forward between me and my advisor. So this now, if you can imagine, will move into Fast and Full and be a part of the DocuSign package. So you're getting the sign off on the investment plan, sign off on the application all at once. It is coming, and we are actively working on discovery and the build part of that right now. So keep your eyes open and watch your inbox for those enhancement emails.
I just want to leave it at that.
The other investment tools are pretty self-explanatory. They're not as much detail, but when we look at like the savings growth or investment growth calculator, it is all right on in front of you. So when you enter the page, if it opens, you can easily start adjusting and updating those numbers right there on the page, and the numbers automatically update, and the illustration updates automatically. And like I said, you can generate a report from here as well that produces a really finished marketing piece that you can share and include in client documentation going forward. So all of our tools have this functionality. So you can, any of those tools you select from the resource have that very simple click on page with PDF outputs. So yeah, for sure.
Don't go far in, because I don't want to lose you, and I know it's not very often we get the chance to get Sherif on the line, so I want to make sure I pull out every ounce I can from his expertise. So I mean, the tool looks fantastic. As I said, I've seen it, I've used it. But from a basics point of view, so you mentioned there might be some advisors are on the line that are purely being life focused and really want to add that extra revenue channel to their overall, income for the year. From a very basic point of view, how would you introduce this to a client rather than just come to we don't want to overwhelm a client with all this information. That's one thing that scares me, that there's an awful lot, but the same sense, it's something that's very powerful to start a discussion, initiate things going forward. So how would you introduce that? Or even Sherif, what's your thoughts on how you would bring that to clients' attention?
Absolutely. Go ahead. You go
Sherif.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, be quite honest with you. You know what? That's us. And for my colleagues on the line and as your wholesalers across the country, what I would strongly suggest that you reach out to us. Let us take your hand and walk you through the process. And quite frankly, that's what we can do. And I can water it down for you if you're a little concerned. I've gone through a complete course about how to do a seg fund sale if you are a life-driven advisor. And this would simply be an additional piece. But what I would suggest, if you have any discomfort, Don't walk away from the opportunity. Lean on your wholesalers here at Empire. Myself and my colleagues across the country will simplify it for you, and we'll make sure that the way you present it is also going to maintain your credibility that you built and worked so hard to build. The one thing we want to do is make sure that when you do an investment piece and you're not quite comfortable, we'll give you a path that will keep your credibility high. So that's what I'm going to suggest. That's simple. Yep. Lean on your wholesalers. That's why we're here, folks. We're not here to just do presentations. We're here to also then take you by the hand and make sure that you're doing this business clean, neat, and tidy. Once you're comfortable with it, with our help, then you simply rinse and repeat.
I think also that, I mean, I get frequent requests for, you know, what's going to be like basically the future value of, you know, ongoing deposits, or, you know, if you're doing a monthly you know, deposit plan, what's the value going to be, and calculating out if it's 5% return or whatever that is. So what's the final pot going to be? So I know I get a few I routinely get asked questions about those kind of calculations, you know, like lump sum versus monthly deposits and that kind of stuff. So it's nice to see something all, you know, something all coming together. I do like the volatility piece in there. I think that's really important as well. I mean, obviously some clients see things as a, you know, the numerical versus graphic. We'll see a client say, you know, because you take a 20% hit, oh no, that's too much. But if you ask the question, if your investment drops from 100 to 80, oh, that's okay. You know, like everybody thinks differently. So me personally, I like to see that graphic of what things are and tying into what portfolios are available. I think from a time saving perspective, obviously keeping it simple. That there's all in a very short period of space to be able to do this, and it's not going to take a lot of time, and you maybe don't have to do this over the kitchen table with somebody. It can be done virtually over a Zoom call, just to really make things easy and make more use of people's time, i.e. save time on the road and save money making the time spent for other revenue opportunities. So I think it's really quite awesome. I'm glad that you're bringing that to. It's not something that has been kept hidden, squirreled away for, you know, and that, you know, that you're forced to call somebody to use it, kind of thing, right? Like it's awesome, and that's been opened up to the advisory channel out there. That's nice to see, and thank you. Couple of thoughts just before we wind things down. As Ian's opening comments, the 250K, that's huge. You know, householding, if we're looking at the second market from that demographic of the 50 plus, I think we're all there. Maybe Sherif, maybe you're not there yet, but I know that me and Mr. Kerr are. We're looking at seg funds as an integral part of the planning that we do going forward with clients. And the average, you know, family, 250,000 sounds like a lot of money. It used to sound a lot of money when I was a lot younger. Now it's not so much when you think about the cost of a house and so on. So, I mean, that asset size is not a scary number. And utilizing the tool that you have there is something that can really help to get at those larger pots as well. And again, the hour that you're spending with their client, 2 hours, you can actually attach what your time is worth to that and get a decent return on the time spent. The 75, there's the entry point for the younger clientele. I'm always looking to try and get the next stage in the family relationship. Is it the grandparents, the parents, or the parents to the children? Well, the 75, it's obviously to the younger end of the sphere. I like the word revenue. I'm not shying away from the word revenue. When I hear the fact that there's revenue bonuses for different times, for doing the right things for your clients, for spending the right time, putting the projections together. This stuff does take time. It's not instant. So why should you not get paid for doing that? So to see the bonus RSP season, again, it's a kickoff, the start of the year. Let's make some money, kind of thing, right? And then on the GIF bonus, which is something that's a target, I think that's probably more important for you, Ian, for working with advisors. Maybe some of those new advisors not done the work, not done any investment business, that let's set the target of 100,000 a month. And, you know, at the end of the year, there's 1.2 million that you're going to have a bonus on to kickstart 2025. And I know the way the goals-based planning works, that if we can do 100,000 a month this year, let's aim for 200,000 next year. And then before you know it, you're at that 4 million in deposits, and you can see the corresponding bonus if it continues going forward. So I think I'll use the word, those are things that should be used, because it's part and parcel of the business stream that you have. If you have your insurance stream, your investment stream, your group stream, your mortgage stream, whatever it may be, all those are all revenue streams are helping to fill the pot at the end of the year for the advisor's income. So I hope everybody on the line thinks that way as well and buys into that message. And I do know that Ian, that you're there to support that and willing to help on those efforts. So with that, we're almost there. Is there any final words from yourself, Sherif, or Ian, before we shut it down?
Well, there is one more thing I do want to say, and just sort of as a bonus piece, I hope everyone got their ears on. But, you know, as a general practitioner, you know, general practice in segregated funds, I will just say very, very respectfully, do not forget about the annuity settlement options forms that should be available with all segregated fund contracts, whether it's with us at Empire or who you're dealing with now. Because the annuity settlement options form is going to be your best friend to build value in your book. The value of your book will go up overnight. And number two, while you're using the annuity settlement options form, you're building forward-looking revenue with the work that you're doing with the client today. Why? Because if you are the agent of record at the time of death, you get paid on the placement of those annuities to their beneficiaries, i.e. the kids and the grandkids. And what does that do? Well, that helps you build a more effective fence around that family's wallet. And as such, I think it would just be easier and better relationships going forward so that you can see a continuous revenue track generation after generation after generation. If you want to learn more about how to apply that annuity settlement options into your book of business, do not hesitate to contact myself or your local wholesaler with Empire Life.
And if people don't have your contact information, Ian, obviously I'm here to assist as well. That's part and parcel of my role, to connect the right people for the right products and the right ideas. And I know there's a lot to share with Empire. So gentlemen, thank you on behalf of IDC, myself and Alex and the team on the investment team. Thank you very much for spending the time. I hope everybody in the line, you know, got some good ideas and are willing to at least look at the product, try it out, kick the tires a bit, and see how we can build in that into the process for going forward. So thanks again, and here's to a good year. I hope it's successful for everybody on the line and for Empire Life. Thank you.
Thank you.